All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So my buddy Ryan on Twitter sent me an article from CBS Sports ranking the top 10 NFL quarterbacks in order for 2023. And Sauce Gardner was the number one corner on the list. So I figured, you know what? Let me take a look at it. Let me break down the list here and kind of share my opinion on how everything is lined up. Now, of course, whenever we're talking about top 10 lists, whether it's, NFL, NBA, whatever the case may be, it's subjective, right? Everybody has their own personal preferences and whatnot. What they like in a specific player, specific position, different qualities and traits that they look for. So everybody's is going to be a little bit different, but I would love to hear your top 10 corners down below in the description box. So let's dive in. And actually, before the top 10, it looks like we have a honorable mention, if you will, the just missed category. They listed off Terrell from Atlanta, Davis from Tampa Bay, Ward from San Fran, Denzel Ward from Cleveland, Jamel Dean from the Bucks, James Bradbury from Philly, Lattimore from the Saints, Tariq Woolen from Seattle, Trey White from Buffalo, and then Xavier Howard with the Miami Dolphins. Now, man, I have to say, again, personal preference here, I really like Denzel Ward's game. When I think about Denzel Ward, I do think of him as a top 10 corner. Some of these guys are understandable, in my opinion, to leave out. But man, AJ Terrell had a really, really nice season last year. I think he's only going to continue to get better as a player. But AJ Terrell, Denzel Ward, Marshawn Lattimore, this is the guy that, to me, he's a no-brainer top 10 guy. I just love his game. Really, since his second year, I love how he always plays. That's something with Lattimore that personally I value. I love the consistency. I feel like you could pretty much pencil in multiple INTs every single year, double-digit pass defenses every single year. Lattimore is a guy that never shies away from the big-time wide receiver. So a little surprised that he's outside of the top 10 here. I think Trey White's somebody who, if he's 100% healthy and comes in and has a solid year, he could find his way back into the top 10. It's just the injuries. I think he played in 11 games in 2021 and then 6 games last season. So just so much time missed there. But overall, the one thing I will say about cornerback, these days there's so many good ones. Like when you just ask the question, who are some good corners in the NFL? Like you can sit there for 5 minutes just rattling off names, rattling off different seasons and different performances and whatnot. Let's move on to the top 10 here. Man, coming in at number 10, Stephon Gilmore from the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, just signed that contract with Dallas to play opposite of Trevon Diggs. But man, honestly, I think at this point, although Stephon Gilmore is still productive, although I still really love his game, really the only thing I don't like about Gilmore is the fact that he's been killing it since he's made the NFL, and for the majority of his career, he's been playing on rivals of the Jets and the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots here. But I love Gilmore. I just don't think he's top 10 right now. I think really the deciding factor is looking at the list right above number 10. So much talent there. Denzel Ward and Lattimore. I mean, I would rather take a couple guys in the just miss category and swap them out with Stephon Gilmore at this point in time. But it's not to say Gilmore is a bad player. Obviously, not in the least. Moving on to number 9. J.C. Horn from the Carolina Panthers. I'm a little surprised that he's at number 9. I think when healthy, when he's on the field, he's, obviously ultra productive and, the physical traits, high upside. So he's somebody that I feel like if you're a defensive coordinator, if you're a DB coach, you would love to have him on your roster. But what has he played? I think he's played in 16 games in total in 2 years. So a lot of time missed. You could say, hold on a second. Well, Sauce Gardner's played in only 17 games, right? Tariq Woolen has only played in 17 games. Why are you knocking Horn? I think for me, it's just, the 16 games in 2 years. So just a lot of time missed here. Again, I think I would rather go with a Lattimore or a Denzel Ward here in the later part of the top 10 and keep Horn on the outside. But hey, if this is, much like Trey White, if he comes in healthy and plays the whole season or the majority of the season, I think Horn could definitely find his way into the top 10. At spot number 8, we have Trevon Diggs from Dallas. This is an INT machine. 14 picks in the last 2 years. Former first team All-Pro back in 2021. I mean, really, the bottom line, he's a playmaker, ultra athletic. When the football's in the air, he can make great plays on it, come down with the football, provides this explosive spark for the defensive side of the football. The one big knock on Diggs is, yes, he does get burned from time to time, but, we can list off some really good corners throughout the years that have gotten burned. Like one guy that pops into my mind is Antonio Cromartie. He was that instinctual guy that would take chances. Sometimes it would work, and he would come off with this, insane interception or this insane pass breakup. Sometimes it wouldn't, and he would allow the TD or the first down. So it's just, again, it's all personal preference. Some fans, some coaches rather, love that instinctual athletic type of player. Some prefer more of the technical side. Right, so I think Diggs at spot number 8 here is fine. Moving on to spot number 7, Marlon Humphrey. Personally, a guy who I think is really underrated. The dude can line up pretty much anywhere and have success. He's like a Swiss Army knife at the cornerback position, outside, inside. He's consistent as hell, which is something that I know I talked about this before, but I just really love that trait, right? When I know that I have a player at the cornerback position, so you're constantly lining up against different wide receivers here, right? Bigger guys, smaller guys that present different skill sets. And you can give me the same production week in, week out, week in, week out, year in, year out, year in, year out. It's like, okay, we have a really good player here. And obviously, he's on that massive mega deal. But I think he's worth it. I think when we look at Marlon Humphrey, I know he's not like talked about as much as like a Jalen Ramsey and some of the, even like a Sauce Gardner now. But Marlon Humphrey, just the consistency, the versatility, tackling ability. I love Marlon. So I agree with, I definitely think he's a top 10 guy. Moving on to spot number 6 here, we got D.J Reed from the Jets. Personally, one of my favorite players selfishly. And the explanation starts off by saying, yes, really, Reed is one of the aforementioned 4 players to rank in the top 15 in PFF's coverage grades in each of the past 2 seasons, checking in at 9th and 11th respectively. I would say personally, my 2 favorite things that stand out about DJ Reed, number 1, his physicality. I don't think that gets talked about enough. Just his ability to tackle, come up and make a play on the football, get aggressive with a wide receiver, hit a running back out of the flat, even come down and hit a tight end. I think DJ Reed's physicality is not brought up enough outside of Jet Nation here, because we all know this dude can hit. In also Seattle Seahawks fans know this as well. Going back to his tenure there, especially in 2021, the season before we brought him in. I mean, this is a guy who he's 5'9". He's not the biggest dude around. He's not 6'3", 6'4", but this guy can hit. He can hit. So the physicality is probably my favorite thing about DJ Reed. And my second is the fact that he plays across from Sauce Gardner. So in other words, he's getting a lot of looks. Typically, he's the second option here. And, if you have a really talented, really good corner on one side of the field, quarterbacks know that. But with the New York Jets, you don't really have anywhere to go. But obviously, Sauce Gardner is the better of the 2 here. So DJ Reed should, theoretically speaking, get more looks, get more targets, get more opportunities, which could go one of 2 ways. Number 1, he gets burned and his numbers look horrible and, the production just isn't there. Or 2, he's making plays on the football. He is producing. He is stepping up and making plays. He is tackling an open field, coming up and making stops. And that's exactly what we saw not only just last season, but in 2021 with the Seattle Seahawks, which was one of the reasons why he was my favorite free agency signing when it initially happened. So DJ Reed, I think for me, I would rather, if you're asking me just objectively here, if I'm taking this off and I'm saying, okay, I'm just a fan of football, not a diehard Jet fan, and you're saying who would you rather take, Humphrey or DJ Reed to pair with Sauce Gardner, I think I'm going to take Humphrey. But DJ Reed to me definitely deserves a spot in the top 10. As far as his official ranking, I'm not exactly sure where I would put him, but definitely top 10 in my opinion. Moving on to number 5, one of my favorite players in the game, Jair Alexander from Green Bay. This dude is so much fun to watch. He will challenge number 1 wide receivers. He will step up and lock guys down. It's just hard to complete passes on him. hard to like. You watch Jair Alexander, if you're like a corner in high school, or you're about to go to high school, you're a college cornerback. Jair Alexander, man, Alexander, from an athletic standpoint, from a production standpoint, from a technicality standpoint, he does so many things really, really well. And what's really cool too is I didn't think he would be this good, right? Back when he was at Louisville, he was obviously a former first round pick. I thought he'd be, solid, but I was not expecting him to be a top 5 corner in football just a few short years later. I mean, the guy hit the league and just instantly started producing. Just a lot of fun to watch. It does stir the pot a little bit pregame and whatnot, which is fine if you can back it up, and he backs it up. Definitely one of the game's best, in my opinion. Definitely top 5. I love Alexander. Next up at number 4, Darius Slay from the Philadelphia Eagles. Can't deny it, right? You can't deny what Slay was able to do last season. There was a period where it was a little, I don't want to say rocky, because Darius Slay to me has never been like a liability out there. Or anything like that, but there was a period where I didn't really think of Slay as a top 3, a top 4, top 5 corner in football, but last season completely switched the narrative and just was frankly incredible. 32 years old though, up there in age. It's not like he's 25, 26 years old. 32. How long will he sustain this level for? I'm not sure, but as we stand right now, I think basing it off of 2022, projecting into 2023, Darius Slay is definitely easily in the top 10. Next up, number 3, Jalen Ramsey from the Miami Dolphins here. Coming off a season where he didn't, it actually points it out right here in the first line, Ramsey got beat for a career-high 7 touchdowns last season as the Rams defense collapsed around him, but he was still outrageously good in coverage for most of the year. I think one thing that I saw a lot of on Sundays was just, on social media and whatnot, during halftime, it was like videos of him getting burned for TDs, and it was, a lot of people were saying, hey, this guy's washed, he sucks, he's overpaid, he's bad now. I'm not going to go that far. Yes, Jalen Ramsey did, he was on the wrong end of a lot of negative plays, for sure. I'm not denying that, but I still don't think that type of talent, that type of consistency that we've seen throughout the years, whether it's on the Rams, whether it's on the Jaguars, that doesn't just go away overnight. I mean, we look at the Rams offense, it completely, injuries all over the place. And as the article pointed out, the defense just completely collapsed. It was just a lost season a year ago for the Rams. So I'm not going to look at last season and just say, hey, you know what? He allowed this many, X amount of touchdowns. He's, trash now or anything like that. I'm not going that far. I think him in Miami, working with Vic Fangio and a ton of talent around him, is... I think we could see a bounce back season for Ramsey. As far as him being top 3, I don't know if I would put him top 3. For me, I'm thinking like top 5, top 6. But, it is what it is. Like, we're splitting hairs here. But yeah, Ramsey rated at number 3. Number 2, Pat Surtain. And this, to me, Pat Surtain and Sauce Gardner, to me, are like the top young guys. And of course, we have to bring up Tariq Woolen. But Pat Surtain, you want to talk about consistency, size, athleticism, production, tackling ability, well-coached, technically sound, can play off, can play man, ability to make plays deep down the field. What else? High defensive IQ, constantly guards the number 1 wide receiver. Pat Surtain to me is he's the complete package. Like, if you're a Denver Bronco fan and you're watching Surtain on a week-to-week basis, you have to be thinking to yourself, dude, we are so lucky. This guy's an absolute stud. The defensive IQ is crazy with Pat Surtain. And of course, coming in from Alabama, top 10 pick, coached by Nick Saban. So he's and also coached by Vic Fangio at the next level. This dude has received some of the best defensive coaching around, and when you match that with the athletic profile, when you match that with the, I guess you could say the bloodlines too, Pat Surtain to me is freaking fantastic. I love his game. So much fun to watch, unless he's playing the Jets. So coming in at number 1, this list has Sauce Gardner ranked here. And the article points out that he only allowed 45.9% of the passes thrown his way to be completed for a 53.9 rating. He also led the league in forced incompletion rate and pass breakups. He only allowed a reception once every 18 coverage snaps, the best in the NFL. That's crazy. It goes on to talk about the physical size, the attributes, coming in at 6'3", 200 pounds. There's just, when you watch Sauce Gardner play, he's quick on his feet, he's light, he's nimble, but then it's like, oh, hold on a second, this guy's like 6'3", 6'4". But he moves around like he's like a short, shifty slot corner. It's like, how does somebody that big move so quickly and, elegantly, for lack of a better term? I mean, Sauce Gardner constantly, every single week, had production. He was making a play here, he was making a play there, he was locking this guy down, he was breaking up that pass, breaking up that TD, right, coming up and making a hit, jarring a ball loose. I don't remember one time last season saying, damn, he got ripped apart by a wide receiver, or man, he got absolutely burned all day, he was humiliated from start to finish. Not one time. Factor in he's a rookie. It's really cool, and much like the Denver Broncos, Broncos fans can relate here, and same too with Seattle fans with Tariq Woolen drafting him in the fifth round. You're just sitting back as a fan saying, like, we're in good hands for the next 5-6+ years with these guys on a roster. It's crazy. And look, we have to kind of be fair here and understand that, hey, Sauce had so much hype coming out. A lot of people knew he was going to be this good. He was a top 5 pick. You're not just selecting a cornerback in the top 5 if you think he's going to be like average or just good. Like, you're taking one because you think he's like generational. And that's so far through one season what Sauce Gardner has shown. Another interesting point, he played and started every single game. Didn't deal with injuries. There wasn't any like off the field issues. You just knew what you were going to get. Going to come in, lock whoever he's going up against down, force incompletions, present an athletic problem for OCs, for wide receivers, and the guy just blankets. He just blankets wideouts. Covers the perimeter, can again make plays down the field, can recover well, which is something that I really like. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Is Sauce Gardner to you the number 1 corner in football? I think this year is going to be huge. Right, year 2, everybody talks about the jump from rookie year to sophomore year. It's going to be massive, but to me, I can't really find a reason why a reason to bring to the table saying this is the reason why Sauce Gardner is going to take a massive step backwards. This is the reason why he's not going to look like the same player. I just can't really find one. Even if I were to sit here and think about it for 10 minutes, I couldn't really come to the table with a realistic debate here. I think everything with Sauce is pointing up. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Is Sauce Gardner the number 1 guy? Let me know your top 10 corners, not necessarily ranked. If you don't want to do them ranked, that's totally understandable. Thanks so much, and as always, go Jets.